Welcome to EPG Pathshala. My name is Dr. Neeraj Agarwal and I am Assistant Professor in University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, Punjab University, Chandigarh. I am presenting lecture on module titled Introduction to Fish and Shellfishes under the paper titled Food Production, Operation and Management. Now, the learning outcome of the module, the student will be able to define the various terms related to fishes, importance of fishes, able to identify the types of fishes, their storage, cleaning and cooking methods of different fishes, know about the different cuts of fish and the selection criteria of fishes and shellfishes. I begin with the introduction. Fish are finned, aquatic, cold-blooded vertebrate with gills. Fish and shellfishes are commonly known as seafood, though they could be obtained from sea, ocean, river or lakes, or could even be farmed artificially, but still they are known as seafood. Fish has been in humans' diet from the ancient time. It is one of the most important commodities used in the kitchen by a chef. Since fish is a delicate meat, it needs to apply delicate cooking methods and also a delicate flavor. In many places around the world, especially in Bengal in India, fish is considered to be vegetarian food and is called vegetable of the sea. Similarly, in France, it is referred to as fruit de mer, which literally means fruit of the sea. Fish has a special place in French classical menu where it forms a separate course called poisson. The fish is rich in protein content and some of them are highly rich in oils such as omega-3, which is preferred choice for people suffering from heart problems. Marine and freshwater fish were a crucial part of man's diet long before prehistorical societies learned how to cultivate vegetables and domestic livestock. Fish provided essential proteins and vitamins. They were easy to catch and eat, and predominantly eaten raw. Fish provides many attractive and satisfying dishes. Fish is a high protein food, supply on an average a little more than 5 grams of protein per edible ounce. The fat content helps to determine the method of preparation. Fish that has fat will produce superior eating qualities if baked or boiled because of their natural fat which keeps them from drying during cooking. Lean fish are best poached, boiled or steamed. The flesh is firm and holds together during the cooking period. Both lean and fishes with fat can be sauteed or fried, which gives excellent results. Now, I will discuss about classification of fish. There are different type of fishes. It can be basis of habitat classification, physical shape, flesh type like saltwater, sea and ocean, round fish from white, freshwater river lakes, flatfish, oily. Fish can be classified based on its habitat, as fish comes from sea, oceans, rivers, lakes and each of these habitats play a very important role in its taste and texture. The freshwater fishes. The freshwater fishes are those which migrate back and forth between saline waters and fresh waters. Fish which are permanent inhabitants of freshwater are described as freshwater fishes. It includes fish like bass, perch, pike, smelt, trout, etc. Freshwater fishes are lean because they exercise more and have lot of movement, due to which they have very less amount of fat in their body as compared to seawater fish. Seawater fish, these are those fishes which are adapted to saline water condition. These fishes do not exercise much, therefore contains high amount of salt and fat in their body. Oils present in some of these fishes are omega-3 and is beneficial for the heart patients. These fishes vary in sizes from very small such as anchovies to very large such as sharks and whales. Some examples of seawater fishes are Atlantic cod, haddock, pollock, eel, flatfish, herring, tuna, salmon, etc. Now, I will going to discuss the classification on the basis of physical shape. Fishes are also classified on the basis of their shape. There are two shapes of fishes, round and flat. As the name suggests, flat fish are flat in appearance while round fish are well round and plump. These fishes can be differentiated as follow. Flatfish. This fish is flat in shape. Both its eyes are on one side. It swims flat on the surface of water with the belly, a line parallel to the water bed. Belly side of the flat fish is white in color. It yields 4 fillets. Examples of are turbot, flounder, skate, halibut and sole. Now, round fish. This fish is round in shape. Eyes are on the other side of the fish. It swims in a horizontal manner. Both the sides of the fish are of the same color. It yields 2 fillets. The examples are salmon, trout, tuna and snapper. Now, classification on the basis of flesh type. Fishes are also classified by its flesh type. The flesh of the fish is either oily or white. White fish is also referred to as lean fish. All flat fish like cod, snappers are lean fish or white fish. Fish such as herring, mackerel, salmon, tuna, etc. are classified as oily fish. Now, the selection of fishes. When purchasing fresh whole fish, the following point should be observed. Number 1. Quality in fresh fish is determined by the condition of the skin, which should be shiny and of good color. Second, in white fish, the flesh should be really white, not fainty yellow. Third, the body should be rather heavy in relation to length and the flesh plump and springy. Fourth, eyes should be bright and not sunken. Fifth, gills should be red. Sixth, for freshness, the fish should have a pleasant, slightly salty smell, while stale fish has an ammonic odor which increases with its staleness. Seventh, if the imprint of the fingers remain after it has been pressed, then it is not fresh. Eighth, if the scales comes out themselves, then the fish is stale. Ninth, raw fish flesh should not come away from the bones as it is the sign of fish deterioration. 10th, the tail should be stiff. 11th, fish should be stored at 1 degree centigrade. Now I will discuss the general problems in cooking of fishes. When fish is cooked, the flesh breaks apart into its natural separations. This is called flaking. Fish continues to cook in its retained heat even when removed from the fire. It is often dreadfully overcooked by the time it reaches the customer. Fish is very delicate and is easily overcooked. Therefore, special care should be taken while handling or cooking of fish. Observe the following points to check for the fish just separates into flakes, that is the beginning to flake but does not yet fall apart easily. If bone is present, the flesh separates from the bone and the bone is no longer pink. The flesh has turned from translucent to opaque, usually white, depending upon the kind of fish. The major flaw in fish preparations is overcooking. Now, I will discuss the steps to be followed for storage of fish. Rinse the fish in cold water and dry it properly. Put the fish on the crushed ice bed and place it in a perforated pan to allow the water drainage. Cover the fish with additional ice and store in the refrigerator until use. If the fish is not used in the next 2 days, then take out the fish and repeat the procedure. Do not let the fish touch the water or to swim in water. Do not let the shellfish come in contact with fresh water, otherwise they will get killed. Fresh fishes should be stored in fish box containing ice in a separate refrigerator or part of a refrigerator used only for fish at temperature of 1 to 2 degrees centigrade. Seventh, while storing the fishes, the temperature should be maintained just above the freezing point. Deep freezers should be used for storing frozen fishes. Fishes which are smoked should be tightly enclosed in a wrap and should be kept in refrigerators. This will prevent any kind of aroma loss. Now I will discuss about the cleaning of the fish. Check the fish for dull and sunken eyes, gills, scales, smell, tail and blood. Use a sharp knife and cut the fish head off at the gills. Flip the fish over so that its belly faces you. Observe the 3/4 of the way from its head. With the knife blade facing away from you, make an incision from hole all the way up to its gills. Using your fingers, remove its intestines and other waste. With a sharp knife, remove the spine or the bones carefully. Wash and use the fish accordingly. Now I will discuss about the cuts of fish. There are various cuts. The first one is fillet. It is a boneless cut of entire length from the whole fish. The whole fillet is further used for processing other cuts of fish, used for barbecuing, grilling, pan frying, steaming and deep frying. The second cut is darne. This is the slice of the round fish on the bone. It resembles a steak. This is the best cut for grilling, barbecuing, pan frying, poaching and baking. This cut is often used in stews. Third is prime. This cut is often referred to as fillet also. It is the prime cut of fish and is always boneless and without skin. This is the most common cut used in many preparations. This cut can be grilled, poached, pan fried, crumbed or butter fried. The fourth cut is delice. It is neatly folded fillet. It is used for poaching or steaming. The fifth cut is poppets. This is the thin scallop of a fish that has been flattened. This cut is usually poached by stuffing and rolling in a thin plastic casing so that it retains its shape. Next is trocon, same as darne but from flat fish, same as darne. Next is plated. This cut is made by pleating 3 strips of fish to give a decorative touch. This cut of fish is usually poached, crumb fried or steamed. Next cut is goujon. These are the strips of fish cut from the large fillet and usually of 8 cm by 1 cm. These are usually crumbed and deep fried and served as hot snacks. These preparations are called fish fingers. Next is goujonettes, same as goujon but half of their size, same as goujon. Now we discussed about the preservation of fishes. The different methods is freezing. Fishes are either frozen at sea or as soon as possible after reaching port. It should be thawed out before being cooked. Place halibut, turbot, haddock, sole, cod, trout, salmon, herrings and many other fishes are available frozen. Frozen fishes should be checked for 1. There should not be any freeze-and burn marks. Second, they should be checked for safe packaging and no fish item should be damaged. Third, while thawing, there should be minimum fuel loss. Fourth, even after thawing, the flesh should still feel firm. Fishes should always be stored at -18 degrees centigrade. They should never be frozen again once it has been thawed, as this could lead to a major health hazards. The second method is canning. The fishes which are oily are usually canned. Sardine, salmon, anchovies, pilchard, tuna, herrings are canned in their own juices or in oil or in tomato sauce. The third method is salting. In this process, the fishes are rubbed with salt all over their body, accompanied by a smoking process which helps in preserving fishes for a long durations. For example, cured herrings are packed in salt, caviars, the slightly salted roes of the sturgeon is sieved thin and refrigerated. The fourth method is pickling. Fishes like herring are pickled in vinegar. Another method is smoking. Fishes to be smoked are gutted or left whole. It is soaked in a strong salt solution, and in some cases a dye is added to improve color. After this, it is drained and hung on racks in a kiln and exposed to smoke for 5 to 6 hours. Now, I will discuss about the different methods of cooking fish. Because most fishes have little connective tissues, the procedure for cooking them is somewhat different from those cooking meats and poultry. When we cook meat, we are often concerned with tenderizing the product. Fish is naturally tender, however, and cooking, especially overcooking, is more likely to toughen the product and dry it out. The main objective of cooking fishes is just to doneness, to preserve moisture and texture, and to preserve and enhance the natural flavors. To maintain the quality and food safety of the fish and shellfish dishes, it is important to cook them at appropriate temperatures using suitable cooking methods which will help in maintaining the quality as well as the nutritive value of the seafood. The different methods used are boiling. This method is suitable for whole fishes such as salmon, turbot, trout, and certain cuts of fishes on the bones such as salmon, cod, turbot, halibut, brill, etc. In either case, the fish should be completely immersed in the cooking liquid, which can be water or any fish stock. Whole fishes are covered with a cold liquid and brought to a boil, whereas cut fishes are usually placed in simmered liquid. Another method used for cooking is poaching. This method is suitable for small whole fish and cuts of fillets. The fishes are barely covered with fish stock, then covered with buttered paper and cooked without allowing the liquid to boil. The cooking liquor is usually used for the sauce which makes the fish. Another method uses steaming. Any fish which can be poached can also be cooked by steaming, which has a number of advantages. That is, it is an easy method of cooking. Cooking by steam can be rapid, thus conserving flavor, color and nutrients. It is practically suitable for large scale of operations. Fishes to be steamed is prepared for cooking in the same way as for poaching. The sauce can be prepared separately but strained off, reduced and incorporated into a sauce. The other method used is grilling. This method is suitable for small whole fishes, cut of fishes and fillet. The fish is passed through seasoned flour, brushed with oil and grilled on both sides. Some of the fishes are marinated prior to grilling for short durations, then grilled along with some basting to prevent them from burning. Another method is shallow frying. This method is suitable for small whole fishes, cuts and fillets. The fish is passed through seasoned flour, shallow fried on both sides. Baking is another method in which many fishes, whole portioned or filleted, may be baked in an oven. In order to retain the natural moisture, it is necessary to protect the fish from direct heat. Now, I will discuss about shellfishes. Shellfishes are aquatic animals protected by an outer shell. They are Invertebrates, based on skeletal structure, they can be segmented into mollusks. The examples can be univalve with one shell, bivalve having two shells, cephalots no shells. Crustaceans, it includes lobsters, crabs, crawfish, crayfish, prawns and shrimps. Points to be kept in mind while purchasing shellfishes are: freshness in shellfish can be recognized by brightness of eyes and stiffness of flesh and tail. Claws, when pulled, should sparing back and both the claws should be attached firmly to the body. The shellfishes, when purchased, should smell fresh. The shellfishes should be heavy in proportion to their size. Now, I will discuss about the storage of shellfishes. Crabs, lobsters and other shellfishes should be packed in a seaweed or damp paper upon delivery. They should be stored in either lobster tanks or perforated pans under the bed of crushed ice at a temperature of 4 degrees centigrade. Fresh water should not come in contact with stored shellfishes. Clams, mussels and oysters purchased with their shells or should always be stored in perforated pans with ice beds where the ice should be changed on regular basis. They should not be iced in a closed container and should be always stored at a temperature of 2 to 4 degree centigrade. The first one is molluscs. Molluscs are the seafood which have two distinctly separate shell joined by a hinge like membrane. The movement of the shell is controlled by a strong muscle. When the muscle relaxes, the two halves of the shell fall open. The shells also open when the organism dies, thus exposing the contents of the shell to contamination from outside. Therefore, the ones with open shell should be avoided while purchasing. Second is crustaceans. Crustaceans have crust like shell, for example lobsters, crab, prawns, shrimps. The shell of crustaceans do not grow with the fish unlike those of molluscs, but are shed every year with a new one forming to suit their new size. Now, I will discuss about the different characteristics of shellfishes. Oysters have rough, irregular shells. The bottom shell is slightly bowl-shaped, the top shell is flat. The flesh of the oyster is extremely soft and delicate and contains high percentage of water. Oysters are available all year but at their best in the fall, winters and springs. Now, I will discuss about the nutritional value of seafood. Seafood is rich in protein from 1 to 20% depending upon the species and the season of the year. Apart from this, seafood contains essential minerals, vitamins and fats. Shellfish and saltwater fishes are rich in zinc, calcium, iodine and fluorine. Seafood is also a satisfactory source of magnesium, phosphorus, iron and copper. A fatty fish such as salmon, mackerel and sardine will supply about 10% of the daily allowance of vitamin D. Fish and shellfishes have high levels of polyunsaturated fatty acid, especially omega-3 fatty acids, a rare and important element for cardiac patients which tend to lower blood cholesterol. Seafood is as useful as a source of animal protein as meat. The oily fish such as sardines, mackerels, herrings and salmon contain vitamin A and D in their flesh. In white fish such as halibut and cod, these vitamins are present in liver. The bones of sardines, whitebait and tinned salmon when eaten provide the body with calcium and phosphorus. Since all fish contains protein, it is a good body building food and oily fish is useful for energy and as a protective food because of its vitamins. Owing to its fat content, oily fishes are not so digestible as white fish and is not suitable in cooking for invalids. Now, I am going to summarize this module. Many of the above are in fact misinformed excuses as fish is very quick and easy to prepare. It can be prepared for cooking by the fishmonger and cooked in a matter of minutes at home. Not all types of fish give off odorous smell, then linger for weeks, and eating fish is much healthier than eating meat, particularly red meat. In some Mediterranean countries such as Spain, Italy, and Greece, or even in Scandinavian countries where cold water fish is plentiful, fish and seafood are eaten on a more regular basis, often several times a week. In these countries where the pace of life is perhaps less frantic and people still get together and enjoy traditional good food, fish is very popular and is even regarded as more of a treat than eating meat. Where in the UK, we traditionally have a Sunday roast that consists of roast beef or lamb. In Spain, for example, a big paella is usually considered the best celebratory food. Fish markets are still popular and many women will visit the market on a daily basis for fresh products including fresh fish. Thanking you and have a nice day.